Hi, everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of D2C Chronicles. Today we have with us Aakanksha Raj, who is one of the lucky few who paved herself into Microsoft. From the day she joined IIM-Calcutta, she worked tirelessly towards becoming a program manager. She was amongst the 25 students who also got an opportunity to study at an exchange program, and she got a chance to visit Vienna and study there. Let's see what Akanksha's story holds for us and see how she navigated through the challenges of life. Hi, Akansha. Thank you so much for joining us today. How have you been during the lockdown?
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, the lockdown has been pretty, challenging in many ways, but it has changed the dynamic of work as we always knew it. It has changed the dynamics of life as we always knew it. And like all the other people out there, even I'm figuring out my way as to how to, hold my composure and do the things which I keep doing during the pandemic.
Absolutely, I can absolutely agree with your point, Akansha. I think we're all trying to stay calm during the pandemic and trying to hold still until this wave goes away and we all get back to a routine life.
Yes.
Now, before we move any further, Akansha, I would like you to give us a short introduction of yourself so that our viewers can get to know you better.
So basically, I'll start from my graduation. I completed my BTech in Electronics and Communication in NIT Nagpur. I worked for 2 years and around 2 years, and then I joined IIM-Calcutta. It was my first attempt at CAT, and yeah, so that's how then I joined IIM-Calcutta. And in the first year, basically, I had interned mostly into a fin kind of a company, but when after completing my graduation, I basically got an offer at program management in Microsoft. And besides this, I was among the 25 students who got selected for SEMS in IIM Calcutta. So IIM Calcutta, that way is very unique because it's just the only B school in India which gives you this opportunity. SEMS basically gives you one more degree, a dual degree, which is called as Masters in Management from Europe. And as a part of that, I had also interned for 3 months in Thailand as a business development intern. And yeah, it was an enriching experience. So you can say if I were to look back, the 2 years in IIM Calcutta basically fast forwarded my life by say 5 years, which would have been at a normal pace. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I am sure that everybody who goes to IIM Calcutta gets a chance or an opportunity at least to have an international exposure, if I may say.
Right. Yes.
Okay, and Kansha, you got placed at Microsoft, which I believe is not an easy task. How did you prepare for your placement? What was special about you?
Okay, so I would answer for the part about how did I prepare for placement. So the thing was, when I was in second year, and at that time I had my previous experiences in my perspective. Like I had 2 years in as a software developer that I'd worked before joining IIM Calcutta. I had done an internship by that time after my first year. So somehow, in the second year, one clarity that I got that I am the happiest when I'm working with tech. So this led me to narrow down on fields, and that was primarily product management. And if you see, product management as a field is vast because there are various types of product management roles that comes to B schools. There is your B2C consumer type, B2C product manager. There's a B2B product manager. There's a sales product manager. So even when you go to product management as a role, there are finer nuances. The first thing what I did was understood as to what the role is all about. And for this, talking to peers definitely helps. Talking to seniors definitely helps, and that gives you sort of a roadmap as to how you will structure your prep. Once I understood what the field is about, the first thing I did was formed a case study group, and with the help of those peers, we used to solve all the product management questions, and we used to take each other's mock interviews and things like that. And then that gave me a structure of how to prepare for the interview. Now, once you have the structure, the second thing which you look into is content, and to bring content There are two parts. The first is where you can look into external resources, you can look into tech magazines, tech websites, and get into as to what are the trends, the holistic trends that the tech industry is moving to. That's the first part. But the second part, and I believe the one that will set you apart from all the candidates who are interviewing for the same position, it would be your own observations. So say, even if you're using a daily app in your day-to-day life, that app could be as simple as say Gmail, or as simple as say Swiggy. But once you're looking at app, are you able to look at it with the lens of a product manager, and are you able to find out things about it that no book can offer you? That part of preparation is also equally important, so that it sets you apart from so many people who are interviewing for the same role. So yeah.
That's quite an exhaustive process that you've mentioned, Aakanksha, and I'm sure that whoever is listening out there to you will abide by these and end up with a good placement in the end.
Yeah, I surely hope. I surely hope so.
Now, Aakanksha, you got placed at Microsoft in a relatively new role, that is as a program manager. And we know that this role is often offered by the new age recruiters like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Would you like to emphasize a little bit on what this role is all about and how you have developed in this role? How you have paved your path in this role for that
Got it. So I can give a brief as to how product management role looks in Microsoft. So basically, once you join as an entry-level program manager, you will be owning a feature set of a vast app. So it can be like the app has a very vast expanse, very vast reach. So you will be owning, say, a few of the features of those apps. As you progress in your career, your scope of influence expands from just features to the entire app to say suite of apps. And then as you grow in program management roles, say, you'll be actually finding yourself in a strategic position as well, wherein it will be not just about your product, it will be about how your product rolls up, say, into the entire ecosystem of products that Microsoft offers. So currently I am at the second year of my career, and I'm learning as to how to basically bring out the best in the feature set and the feature areas that is assigned to me within my product. Yes, and one thing about product management is that it involves talking with a lot of stakeholders, involves a lot of ambiguity. So as a product manager, you're expected to bring structure, because you'll be talking to multiple stakeholders. You'll be talking to developers, to designers, to external parties, salespeople, and at the same time you have your own opinion as well. So what you have to do is carve out a path that basically keeps in mind the best interests of all these stakeholders. So it's like you navigate ambiguity, you bring certain structure to what you're doing, and then you deliver results. So that's how it has been. Yeah.
quite an interesting role that sounds like, Akansha, and I'm sure you must be having a lot of fun working as a program manager. Now,
Yes.
what advice would you like to give to the students out there who would like to step into their first job as a program manager? Is there anything specific that they should do to prepare for this role?
So specifically, I would say that one thing that you could do obviously is, say, prepare from all the resources and books that are laid out there. That's fair, and that everybody does it. But second thing, I would say that as a quality, one important quality that you can develop while preparing is empathy. So what does empathy mean in this case? So say you see a real world problem, or you are okay. Let me just narrow it down. Say somebody is using an app now. As a person who normally uses an app, you'll just think about, okay, app exists, this is how we use it. But as a program manager, what you can do, like trying to going into the role of product manager, how you can think of is, now see who is the say you take an example of an app. Now you have to think, who is the customer for this app, what are the pain points they might be facing, how could I solve this, and then you basically come to feature levels, like what kind of feature would help the user, why do you think that feature is good. Probably you should even discuss that with your friend, with your peer, which you have, the case group that you have formed. You could discuss as to why do you think I think about this feature, what is your opinion on this, what do you think about this. So having putting yourself in the shoes of the end users, empathizing with them would help you come up with solutions which would actually surprise you as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And in that line, I would also like to add that this is the time of the pandemic and we all need to be a lot more empathetic than
Yeah,
what we were earlier back in our lives.
sure. Yeah.
Now, tell me, Kansha, what do you do to de-stress yourself? I'm sure work at times would get a lot more demanding
Yes.
than what it was earlier. What do you do? What are your hobbies, and what all do you do in your free time?
Okay, so I'm very nerdy when it comes to my hobbies as well. I like reading and I like writing poetry. So those are the two things that I really love, to distress myself. Yes. So.
Quite therapeutic reading is, I must say. So, what is the last book that you read?
So actually, I usually read both fiction and non-fiction. The last read that I gave, actually, I gave it a read it when it comes to fiction. I read Pride and Prejudice again in this pandemic time. And yeah, for non-fiction, I read Hooked, which is a book by Neil, and it is something which is very recommended for product managers as well. So you could actually give that book a read, when it comes to as to how habit forming products are formed. That book is an interesting take on that. Yeah. So yeah, these are the last two books that I read.
I can only imagine reading books is one of my favorite hobbies as well. Now, Akansha, before we sign off, I would like you to give students one advice on how should they be preparing for the upcoming placement season, especially when we see that a pandemic is hovering above our head.
Right, right. I mean, first of all, it is obviously a very difficult time, and it is something that nobody foresaw coming. One thing I would like to say is that it is very difficult to stay positive in times like this. But one thing to remember is that everybody is going through the same similar situation right now. So you can say there is in some way a level playing field. So what we can do is we can try our best in this and not to put undue pressure on ourselves. Also, one important thing would be to, once when you're going say through this placement process, one thing would be to realistically set your goals. Like, you should not run behind things which are, say, which other people perceive as, say, cool or in. What you should do is you should sit back and see that where your career path is aligning to, what are your skills and which role would suit that well. Don't just run behind what others are doing. Try to get in sync with yourself. So B School has this thing that, you can get carried away by peer pressure a lot. So what is important is that you take some time off and try to get in touch with yourself as to say 5 years down the line, what do you want in the life? Because life is not just about B School campus placement. Think about your career in a long term fashion, and I'm sure that will help you. Your own heart will guide you as to where you will fit in the long run, for sure.
That
Yes.
is quite an interesting advice, and that's quite a valuable insight that you have shared, Akansha. I'm sure the upcoming B schoolers, as well as the ones who are already in these schools right now, will abide by it, will listen to you, and work on their placements and work on themselves accordingly, set realistic goals, especially. Thank you so much for being with us. It has been a pleasure talking to you, knowing you and your story of reaching Microsoft and beyond. Thank you so much for staying with us, Akansha. Stay
Yeah,
safe,
thank
stay
you so
safe,
much.
and be happy.
Thank you so much. Stay safe.